Hello and welcome to the Week 7 Games That Matter recap video. It was an exciting week, a lot of upsets in this week, a lot of interesting college football playoff scenarios changing up. Without further ado, I'm going to jump right into this. We're going to start off with the game Friday, October 11th. We had number 20 Virginia at Miami, Florida. I had Virginia winning this one on the road. I felt like Miami would give them trouble. It would be a close game, but I think Virginia was a good team this year, and I thought they were going to pull ahead. But Miami surprised everyone, controlled the game, and got the win at home. And it may be the turning around point for Miami. This may be a point where Miami gets their heads back together. I know. Johnny Talk Sports commented on the video saying that if they won this game, they could turn their season around, and I gotta give him credit, and I kind of agree. I think Miami's on a warpath to turn themselves around and try and claim back their half of the ACC now. Next is Colorado at number 13, Oregon. I picked Oregon to win this game. They did pretty handily. They took care of business, and they're moving into their game against Washington next week. And now to the Saturday games. First of the Saturday games was possibly one of the most shocking. South Carolina at number 3, Georgia. Now, I picked Georgia to win this one at home. That being said, South Carolina shocked the college football world, beating Georgia in double overtime. They get their first upset of a top 3 ranked team since 2010 when they beat Alabama, who was ranked number 1. So this is a big moment for South Carolina, and they're going to be celebrating this one all week long. You can bet that. Well, at least the school will be. The team, they got business to attend to, and I believe they are playing not Alabama. They're playing another top 10 team this upcoming weekend. So it's going to be interesting to see where they go from there. Number 6, Oklahoma at number 11, Texas. Now, I picked Oklahoma to win this one on the road, and they did. Now, Texas gave them everything they could handle. It was a close game. It was a 7-point game at the end of the night. And Oklahoma did come away with a road victory, I believe 34-27. Texas is still in the running for the Big 12 championship game, which could potentially, for the second straight year, be a rematch of Oklahoma-Texas. Now, if you remember last year, Texas beat Oklahoma in the regular season and then lost the Big 12 championship. If they flop that around, it could create some messy stuff at the end of the season. Next was number 16, Michigan at Illinois. Now, I got Illinois. I'm kidding. I had Michigan to win that game. They did. They took care of business. However, it was rather interesting to see Michigan go out to a 28-0 lead and then let Illinois march back in to the tune of 25 unanswered points. They did get themselves squared up again and won the game, I believe, 42-25, but that was really, really dangerous there for Michigan. We'll see how that pans out for them next week. Next was number 23, Memphis at Temple. Now, I picked Memphis to win this game on the road. Temple's a good team. I thought it would be close. Temple's a better team than I thought they were. Temple comes away with the win here, upsets Memphis, and guess what? They're going to be looking to do it again next weekend as they go to SMU. So we'll see what happens here if Temple is going to rise themselves up into the top 25 again. Next was number 1, Alabama at number 24, Texas A&M. Now, I picked Alabama to win this game. A&M hung with them pretty long, all things considered. But Alabama comes away with the win and keeps their number 1 spot. Florida State at number 2, Clemson. I picked Clemson to win this game. They did. It wasn't even a competition. Next was Michigan State at number 8, Wisconsin. I had Wisconsin winning this game. They did 38-0. Now, this is a historical game in the fact that Wisconsin is the first team in FBS history, or at least in a really, really long time, to have 4 shutouts in their first 6 games. They let 14 to Michigan, and I believe 10 to Northwestern. So they've let up, I think, 24 points in 6 games. That is insane. That is 4 points a game. That is unheard of. This Wisconsin defense seems to be the real deal, and they got another matchup here where they could get a record fifth shutout on the season in only 7 games played. That's unheard of and amazing. This Wisconsin team they're looking like the team to beat. It's looking like it's going to be Wisconsin versus Ohio State in that Big Ten championship. And you could have a situation where you could make a case, no matter who loses that game, if they're both undefeated coming in, you could make a case for putting both of them into the playoffs. It'll be interesting to see what happens, because you're going to have that same argument from the SEC. So you get 2 Big Ten and 2 SEC teams in the playoffs, you can't leave someone out. It's going to be a mess at the end of the season. We'll see how it pans out. And it also occurs to me that situation can't happen, because I forgot that Wisconsin and Ohio State do play in the regular season, so one of them will have a 1-loss record, at the very least, coming into that championship game. So all of that speculation is out the window. Next was Washington State at number 18, Arizona State. Now, I picked Arizona State to win this game at home. They did. They took care of business 37-34. It was close, high scoring. Washington State's had a lot of those, but they tend to be on the losing side from this year. I think Arizona State's got a chance here to make a statement if they can come out next week and get a win. Number 25, Cincinnati at Houston. I picked Cincinnati to win this game on the road. They did, keeping their 1-loss season at that, and their 1 loss is to Ohio State, so they're looking pretty decent coming into this final stretch here. Texas Tech at number 22, Baylor. I picked Baylor at home. They won the game. I believe it went into overtime in this one. They won the game by 3 points. It was an exciting game. Baylor keeps their undefeated season alive, but we'll see how long that lasts coming into games against Texas, Oklahoma, and others like that in their conference. Next was USC at number 9, Notre Dame. Now, I picked Notre Dame to win this game, and they did. Now, for a while there, Notre Dame pulled ahead big going into halftime. It was 17-3, and then they come out in the second half, score another field goal on the first drive, scoring on 4 straight drives, making it 20-3. Give credit to USC. They did not back down. They did not give up. And the final score was 30-27. USC pulled right back into the game and gave Notre Dame some troubles, which is expected from this rivalry. They always give each other troubles. But Notre Dame did get the win in the end of the night, and it's a big win for the program. Always a big win when you beat USC as Notre Dame. And it keeps them alive with some semblance of life in this playoff hunt that's about to get messy in the second half of the season. Next is number 10, Penn State at number 17, Iowa. I picked Penn State to win this game. And they did on the road. Iowa gave them a lot of troubles. Iowa's a really good defensive team. It's just Penn State had a little bit more oomph on their offense and brought enough of that to win the game on the road. Next is Louisville at number 19, Wake Forest. Now, this game was insane. I picked Wake Forest to win this one at home. However, Louisville comes in on the road and beats Wake Forest to the tune, I believe, of 62-59. This game was unheard of, and that didn't go to overtime. That was all in regulation. It's one of the highest scoring games in regulation. It is the highest scoring game between combined points between the two teams in ACC history. So it was exciting. If you love offense, if you love defense, this game was not for you. But Louisville comes away with a big road win as they come in against, I believe, Clemson next week. Next was number 7, Florida at number 5, LSU. Now, I picked LSU to win this game, and they did. However, Florida, you got to give them credit. They followed up beating Auburn by playing LSU, and they only lost by 14, and it was a lot closer than that score showed. Florida was in the game the whole way. there's no such thing. I've heard someone say there's no such thing as a good loss, but when I look at that loss for Florida, they gave everything they had. They didn't leave anything off the field, and they just a few things didn't fall their way, and that was the difference in the game. That's a good. It's good to get beat when you're giving your best. If the other team is just better than you, but you gave your best, you hung in there, you had a chance, that in my mind is good. It's not good, but it's acceptable. It's easier to get over that loss, in my opinion. And I think Florida will. I think they're going to take this and use that as fuel to go into their game against Georgia in the second half of the season to try and take possession of the SEC West, or SEC East, from Georgia. So we'll see how that goes. Next was number 15, Utah at Oregon State. Utah won this game big, no competition. I picked them. We're all good there. And last but not least, Hawaii at number 14, Boise State. Boise State keeps their undefeated season alive and their highest ranking position for that non-Power 5 BCS position. Boise State won the game at home, so that was my pick. That puts me at 14 of the 18 correct this week. That puts me at a 77.8% correct rate. On the year to date, at the end of week 7, I have 120 out of 143 games correct, putting me at an 83.9% correct rate. I got all 3 of the top 25 teams picked correctly this week, I believe. The top 25 matchups. I got all 3 of the top 25 matchups correct this week. I don't remember what my exact record is on that. I should have written it down before I started the video, but you win some, you lose some, right? Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you like what I'm doing. If you do, don't forget to hit that like and that subscribe button. I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to be right back with you guys for the Week 8 predictions video. And thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you guys then.